was pretty neat. So it's just kind of cool to go back down memory lane. This is 11 years ago. Killzone 2 launched. And so when I think of Killzone 2, I always think of that E3 trailer, the CG trailer, or what was, not advertised as CG. It was advertised as in-game, that's what made everyone's head explode. But it was eventually released as, I'm pretty sure they eventually confirmed it was target footage. That's what they were trying to get it to look like. And I feel like they eventually pulled it off. Like as far as getting close to that CG trailer, which was almost impossible, they got pretty damn close with Killzone 2 because that tech looked really amazing.
Oh yeah, I remember vividly Killzone 2. I just being completely blown away by how it looks. I mean, they were quite smart in how they did it because everything was so dark and gritty, so it was probably a bit easier to sort of give off the illusion that everything looked so real.
Right.
But yeah, I remember that game looking unbelievable. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the CG trailer was, I mean, you see it from Ubisoft a lot where, they've got this ultra polished vertical slice of a game that they're showing.
Yep.
And then obviously when the game comes out, the whole game, they don't have the time to spend that much time polishing the entire thing.
There's the Watch Dogs, I think it's whole fiasco.
Yeah, Watch Dogs, yeah. And yeah, I think there's a lot of mocap. I haven't seen this trailer in years, but from what I remember, there's a lot of like mocap animating and, the kind of things that is too specific to have in game.
Yeah, let's check it out. If you're ready to go, we can queue up this video here.
Cool.
So this is I didn't watch this like when it came out at E3. I didn't watch this E3 live, but this is apparently shown off at E3. And this was right before the PS3, so this is also showing off, hey, this is the insane power we can imagine with the PS3.
And this was like 4 years before Killzone 2 came out?
Good question. Was it Killzone like 2007, 2009? Okay.
I think I could be wrong. Yeah, 2009
Gotcha.
Killzone 2.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, even now, it looks. I mean, there's certain sort of. I think everything looks a bit smooth, doesn't it?
Like too smooth.
Details, yeah.
Also, this was coming off of Killzone 1 being a franchise that wasn't known for this. It was kind of like this weirder shooter, and they completely almost reinvigorated it by releasing this trailer.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I remember because I liked Killzone 1 when it came out, and because I remember Killzone 1 was set on Earth, and then this one was all set on Helgen, wasn't it? The alien,
right,
or
yeah.
The planet of the bad guys, which was where it got a bit more gritty and. Yeah, this looks like a Ubisoft E3 demo.
And the way your gun really floats around and kind of like
yeah. I think to be honest, I think if a game played like this, it'd make me feel a bit sick.
Yeah. I love the Helghast. I want to say that's what they're called. The characters, anyways. They're a really cool, iconic looking bad dude.
Oh yeah. They're like they remind me a lot of like like you got like Wolfenstein, where it's almost as though like when if the Nazis won the war,
oh sure,
sort of came to like a more. They remind me of like a very like Nazi sort of kind of faction.
Yep, or almost like the Combine in like Half-Life 2, those soldier guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good trailer.
It's very, and this is a product of that era, but it's very gray.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think that's how they were able to make it look so good, because everything's so sort of hidden beneath this sort of like grit and dirt and I mean I think because obviously Helghast is the Helghast are very dark, dreary, a dark and dreary race. So I think the planet itself, I remember it just always be. It's almost like like when you get like the Modern Warfare kind of Afghanistan kind of environments.
Yep. It's all brown.
It's like that, but everything's like black and great games. I love the Killzone series. I think really, really sort of underrated games. And they've always had really good multiplayer as well. Which
they've been really well known for that.
Under the radar. Yeah.
I would love, and I imagine it's because of it being stuck with the cell chip stuff, but like some kind of HD remake, bringing people back into the Killzone franchise. I mean, I feel like is it Shadowfall for PS4? That one was really dope. Reinvigoration of the series. But it'd be cool to go back to those first two, or those second two rather, 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think because my favorite Killzone was 3, I think, which is quite I think it's quite an unpopular opinion. But like objectively, I can see that Shadowfall is probably the best Killzone game in terms of like how it was made, and it's because a lot of people don't like Killzone because of how grey, and a lot of people think it's quite boring and everything. But yeah, Shadowfall was so good. It had such a good setting as well. You know how, if I remember right, they've got like a big wall or something
Yeah.
that separates, because it's about the Helghast now living on Earth or something.
Oh, you're
like
right.
Like
Yep.
agreed peace or something.
Yep.
It's just such a really cool like political sort of setting, which I do think the others were just really like American, like war,
Sure.
like Western war stories. But yeah, Shadowfall was really good game. Such a good introduction to the PS4 as well.
Do you think we see a visit back to that whole franchise, or with Guerrilla, do they just focus on Horizon being their new moneymaker?
I think we'll definitely see another Killzone game. I think, yeah, because I think the Guerrilla have been. I know that there was some talk about them employing for a multiplayer game, a multiplayer shooter. So I don't know whether it's going to go like multiplayer only, or I mean, you'd imagine that if they are working on a shooter, it would have to be Killzone,
Right?
Just because it packs that punch straight away, doesn't it?
Especially if you can launch with the PS5 with a shooter, because they never really had a killer app shooter, but Killzone was the closest thing they had to that.
Yeah, PlayStation have never had, especially a multiplayer shooter as well. And you've got like Halo Infinite coming for Xbox's side, which I'm sure is going to be brilliant. So yeah, they really need to get a shooter, a multiplayer shooter sort of sorted, just to sort of compete on that side. And I mean, you've got Last of Us 2's multiplayer segment coming as well, but again, that's not really going to compete with the multiplayer shooters.
Yeah.
So yeah, and another thing as well I meant to mention is with Fortnite, it's going to be interesting to see how that transitions to PlayStation 5 as well, because that's such like a titan in games even still. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a game that's ran this long and had this much like real estate of like the gaming like world for this long.